Well, hey guys, we're in Jackson, Tennessee today at Casey Jones Village. And I don't think I've ever seen this many Tesla charging stations in one spot. So if you're traveling cross country in an electric vehicle, this may be a place you want to mark on your map. And what does all this have to do with the great state of Mississippi? Well, we're going to make our way through Casey Jones' home and museum and learn a little bit about the great engineer and his life, and I'm guessing you'll figure out why Mississippi is integral to his story. That's Casey right in the middle of the wall there. And goodness, if you think you like this kind of content, why don't you smash that like button? In 1881, at the age of 18, Casey moved to Jackson, Tennessee. He was working for the Mobile and Ohio Railroad. It was at the Brady boarding house where Casey was asked, "What's your name, young man?" He, of course, replied very politely, "John Luther Jones." And true to his southern roots, the man questioning him then asked, "Son, where are you from?" To which Casey replied, "Well, Casey, Kentucky." The questioning man then replied, "Well, welcome, Casey." And John Luther Jones became Casey Jones for the rest of his life. At the Brady boarding house, Casey fell in love with Janie, the daughter of the house proprietors. Casey and Janie married and made Jackson their home. The museum is about Casey Jones and his life, so yes, it's chock full of pictures of Casey and his wife and family. You can learn lots about railroading and railroading history here too, but I think we'll tell you Casey's story as we explore through the museum and let you pick up that railroading history somewhere else. And as we walk through the museum, when you see some pieces that are made from, well, handmade stitching, I'll call it, those were made by his wife. Casey Jones was most definitely an American folk figure. He was killed in the wreck of the Illinois Central Train No. 1, the Cannonball Express. This wreck happened at Vaughn, Mississippi on April the 30th, 1900. At 3:52 a.m. This is the pocket watch in which Casey wore and used as an engineer. He was very proud of his watch and would quote time to the second when he was asked. The watch was in his pocket at the time of his crash and death. Now I'm going to introduce you to a guy named Slim Webb. He was born in Macomb, Mississippi in 1874. He went to Tulane University and was a school teacher before going to work for the railroad. He and his wife Pearl had 3 daughters. Slim gained his notoriety for being the fireman on Casey Jones' last ride. He survived the crash because Casey had told him to jump. Slim spent a big part of the rest of his life giving speeches to help commemorate Casey's bravery. Here's a picture of Casey's tombstone, which of course can be found here in Jackson, Tennessee. After the train wreck in Vaughn, Mississippi, which claimed the life of legendary engineer Casey Jones, something else happened that created this legend. A guy named Wallace Saunders wrote a ballad about Casey Jones, and well, he began to sing it. Wallace was an African-American engine wiper at the Canton, Mississippi Railroad shop. An Illinois Central engineer named William Layton passed the song along to his brothers Bert and Frank. They were vaudeville performers, and they spread the song across the country. Guys named Lawrence Siebert and Eddie Newton copyrighted the song in 1909. The song was not particularly accurate, but it became very popular anyway. Carl Sandburg even called the song one of the greatest ever written on the North American continent. The ballad may not have told the real story of the wreck, but it most certainly carved a place in history for our story's hero, Casey Jones. One of my most favorite things about this museum is that you really get to see what family life would have been like around 1900. They even have some of the original shingles that would have been on the home during Casey's lifetime. When Casey was last in this home, he was an engineer for the Illinois Central Railroad of course based in Memphis, Tennessee. He was known to be exceptionally punctual. He was due to run the southbound service from Memphis to Canton, departing Memphis around 11:35. Because another engineer had been absent, he had to take over another service throughout the day, which of course deprived him of sleep. He left Memphis a little late, but knew he could make up the time with the powerful 10-wheeler engine number 382, known as the Cannonball. As he approached Vaughn, Mississippi, at a high rate of speed, he was unaware that 3 trains were occupying the station. One freight train which had broken down and was blocking his line. There was a flagman out from behind the broken-down train, although he was probably not as far up the track as he should have been, or maybe fog just prevented him from being seen. Nonetheless, Casey prevented the deaths of all of his passengers and crew because he used his exceptional skills to slow the engine and save their lives, ultimately losing his own life. And of course, what train museum would be complete without being able to play on a train? This is a smaller version of the train that would have been Casey's 382 Cannonball Express. You can climb aboard this old train and play like an engineer and ring the bell. It makes for a neat stop in the museum, especially for big kids like me. Well, I sure hope you folks have enjoyed our story about Casey Jones and his life as a railroad engineer. And maybe you've learned a little bit about the events that unfolded on April the 30th, 1900, after John Luther Jones stepped off this front porch for the last time and created the legend that has become Casey Jones. Thank you.